Welcome back, focused learners. Today we are jumping into another explainer, and honestly, this one is a real game changer. It completely flips everything we've ever been taught about productivity right on its head. See, we've all been sold this idea that incredible, unbreakable focus is all about adding complex routines to your day. Drinking those weird green powders, buying some $50 leather-bound planner, or downloading like 3 more apps to lock down your computer. But what if I told you the secret to laser focus is actually about subtraction? It's literally about stripping away the hidden behavioral habits that are secretly acting like malware in your brain. So let's kick this off with the ultimate question. Why is it that those expensive planners and agonizing 4 a.m. wake-ups just completely fail to fix our broken attention spans? The source material we're digging into today points out this crazy phenomenon. You've got some people who can sit down at a desk and lock in instantly. Bam! No phone checking, no tab switching, and in just 4 hours, they knock out more than most of us do in an entire week. But then you've got others who throw the absolute kitchen sink at the problem. Premium focus apps, massive to-do lists, waking up before the sun, and absolutely nothing works. They still end up distracted, completely exhausted, and behind on their work. Think about the fascinating contrast here. You can literally have 2 people sitting at the exact same desk, working on the exact same type of computer, and getting wildly different results. The 10-hour distracted worker starts typing a document, checks their email, gets up for a glass of water, and then just stares at the screen, feeling like their brain is totally full of fog. And suddenly, oops, it's noon, and nothing is actually done. Why does this happen? Well, it's because a lack of focus doesn't just happen out of nowhere. We accidentally train our brains to be distracted. But here's the really good news. Once you stop training your brain for distraction, it naturally defaults back to focus almost immediately. Okay, so how do we actually untrain our brains? Let's get right into section 1. Stop negotiating and reacting. The absolute most crucial point here is that you have got to stop fighting distractions with willpower. Think about it. When you feel that sudden urge to check Instagram or read the news, what do you usually do? You grit your teeth and tell yourself, don't look, don't look. But by fighting it, you're still giving it your attention. You're playing the dopamine game and getting all emotional about it. Instead, you've got to adopt this incredibly simple, non-resistant mantra, I am not negotiating. Notice the urge, acknowledge it, say the phrase, and just get back to work. It's kind of like a car driving past your window. You hear it, sure, but you don't run outside to chase it down the street. By not resisting, the urge just vanishes in seconds because you've completely starved it of engagement. And this brings us to the second habit you really need to break. Stop being reactively available. Are you acting like a waiter or a surgeon? If you keep your email open all day, answer Slack messages on a second monitor, and reply to texts the absolute second they buzz, you are playing the role of a reactive waiter in an insanely busy restaurant. You're just running around reacting to everyone else's needs, slicing your own attention into tiny, useless little pieces. But think about a surgeon. A surgeon in an operating room is definitely not checking email or answering random questions from the hallway. They are doing one thing, and the entire world has to wait. The surgeon is highly respected. The waiter is just busy. We need to act like the surgeon. To become that surgeon, you have to literally close the tabs that let people reach you. Put your phone in another room, and I mean literally in another room, not just face down on your desk. By making the world wait for even just 2 hours, you are sending a massive, undeniable signal to your brain. You are teaching it that your actual work matters way more than the background noise. And when your brain genuinely believes that your work is sacred, it automatically settles into this deep, incredibly powerful rhythm. Which leads us perfectly into section 2. Embrace boredom and process. Because let's face it, doing anything worthwhile eventually gets pretty uncomfortable. So, our third habit to break is running from the hard part. Look at how this sequence builds. Most people kill their focus the absolute second they feel a tiny bit of boredom, frustration, or confusion. Like you get stuck on a sentence and boom, immediately open YouTube. That right there, that's the failure. You have to stop exiting the room when things get hot. Step 1, you hit a hard task. Step 2, that boredom literally physically hits you in the chest. Step 3, you just have to sit there. Stare at the screen. Sit with the discomfort. Don't open a tab. Don't pick up the phone. Just let it be agonizingly boring. Because if you don't sit through that physical hit of boredom in step 3, there is absolutely no way you will ever reach the flow state waiting for you in step 4. The source material gives us this fantastic analogy to wrap our heads around this. The brain resists the transition into deep focus, much like a rocket resists gravity. Think about a rocket launching. It shakes violently, it's incredibly loud, and you feel like you just want to bail out. It takes a massive amount of fuel and effort just to push through. But once you break through the atmosphere, what happens? It's smooth sailing. You fall into this amazing weightless groove. The tragedy is that most people hit the eject button before they ever get to space. They switch tabs the second they get confused. You've got to learn to stay strapped into the chair. And that brings us to the fourth habit to eliminate. Honestly, this might be the most powerful one, and definitely the hardest to do. Stop obsessing over the finish line. When you sit down to work and your mind immediately starts calculating how much longer it's going to take, or you start daydreaming about how good the weekend is going to be, you're sending a signal to your brain that the current moment is bad and the future is good. And you know what that creates? Anxiety. And anxiety absolutely obliterates focus. Instead, you need to act like a master carpenter who is totally lost in the process, looking only at the piece of wood right in front of them. Don't stress over a massive deadline of 1,000 words. Just sit down and say to yourself, I am going to write one good sentence. You don't owe the future your anxiety. You owe the present your attention. All right, let's pull all of this together in section 3. Delete your brain malware. This is the incredible paradigm shift at the very heart of this explainer.
So here is the whole shebang. Your 4 do not do rules. Don't negotiate. Don't react. Don't run. And don't obsess. The absolutely crucial takeaway here is that you are not adding anything new to your plate. You don't need to go learn some crazy new speed reading skill. You are simply stopping these 4 highly specific behaviors that are actively making your brain weak.
I just love the way this is framed. Think about it. Your brain is a supercomputer. The hardware you already have right now up in your head is perfectly fine. It is fully capable of locking in and absolutely destroying tasks. The problem is just that we're loading it with behavioral malware. And honestly, with our collective smartphone addictions, we are all guilty of this. By reacting to every single ping, running from every moment of boredom, and fighting distractions with sheer willpower, you are literally infecting your own operating system. But once you consciously remove this malware, your natural built-in ability to focus at a world-class level, it just shows up automatically. Which brings us to our final thought, and quite frankly, a challenge for you. Don't be like most people who just nod their heads at new information, think, wow, that's super interesting, and then immediately go back to checking their email. Be the exception. I want you to pick the one tip from today that scares you the most, the one where you thought, man, I don't know if I can actually do that, because that is exactly where your growth is hiding. So my question to you is, will you close this tab right now, put your phone in the other room, don't even look at the comments, and just do one block of deep work for 20 minutes? Prove to yourself that you can do it, because I promise you, once you prove it just once, you can do it forever. So, are you ready to delete the malware?